So you want to play like the best there is at what he does. For race, we go Mountain Dwarf because it ticks the short, hairy, and muscular boxes nicely. Using point buy, you'll select 14 strength, 13 dexterity, 14 constitution, 9 intelligence, 13 wisdom, and 10 charisma, with racial bonuses increasing your starting strength and constitution to 16 each. Background is soldier, as it feels most fitting for a man who has seen more battles than most. This provides athletics and intimidation proficiencies. Level 1 starts with Barbarian, providing perception and survival proficiency, and you can start with two hand axes, which you will use in place of claws until you get your own. In addition to that, you get unarmored defense and rage. Wolverine is known for his ferocity and lack of body armor. Level 2 is also Barbarian, where you get danger sense due to your heightened senses, and you can reckless attack, which canonically fits Wolverine's fighting style, as he doesn't really care for his own well-being while shredding his foes. Level 3 Barbarian lets you take Path of the Beast, where you get claws when you rage for the same damage as your two hand axes, with the additional bonus of an additional attack when you take the attack action with them. You can flavor these to be like Wolverine X23s or Dakin's Claws, as long as you discuss it with your DM first. Level 4, we take another level in Barbarian to take the key feat for this build, Dwarven Fortitude. This brings your constitution level to 17 and lets you spend one hit die to heal yourself in combat when you take the dodge action. Staying with Barbarian for level 5 gives you extra attack, bringing your claw attacks per attack action up to 3. You also gain a 10-foot bump in base movement speed thanks to fast movement, letting you physically engage enemies more quickly. With level 6 comes your first level in Monk. This gains you very little, as the Barbarian's unarmored defense is better suited to your stats, and your claws are stronger than low-level martial arts die. However, it makes sense that Wolverine can handle himself with just his fists if he ran out of claw-based rage. Level 7 is when this build starts coming together, as we take another level in Monk. With Key, you can fully combine a flurry of claw attacks with at-will healing thanks to patient defense, which lets you take the dodge action as a bonus action at the cost of 1 key point. Your base movement speed increases again by 10 due to unarmored movement. This speed will greatly help keep you in melee range. Dodge actions not only grant you your healing factor, but they also counteract the advantage that you give to your enemies every time you recklessly attack. This gives them less opportunity to critically hit you, which you can flavor as another aspect of your healing factor. Levels 8 to 18 should honestly be focused back into Barbarian so you don't fall too far behind on Barbarian levels. At level 8, your Barbarian level is 6. This grants you the subclass feature Bestial Soul. Here your claws will count as magical weapons for the purpose of overcoming resistances or immunities to non-magical weapons. In addition to this, at each rest you can swap out a minor adaptation, with the one fitting Wolverine the most is the one that when you jump, you can add a number of feet equal to an athletics check. On to level 9, where your Barbarian level is 7, this nets you Feral Instinct, letting you enter the fight quickly using your heightened senses. Mechanically, this is due to now having advantage on initiative rolls, and being able to overcome being surprised by entering rage before anything else on the first turn of combat. Level 10 grants another ASI, where you should take the Durable feat. This supercharges your healing factor by ensuring that the roll on the hit die used during the dodge action to heal can't go below twice that of your constitution modifier. Speaking of constitution, this feat also rounds it out to 18, meaning the minimum hit die roll you will get is 8. Any further ASIs from here can be used to round out constitution and strength. I find that as constitution boosts your HP, AC, and the healing ability so integral to this build that it is slightly more important, as your strength based damage is already augmented by rage and your strength based accuracy is boosted by reckless attacks. Wolverine is not the big hitter. He's the ever slashing moot killer who just doesn't die. Moving forward, level 11 gives you brutal critical to more fatally wound your opponents each time you land a critical hit. At level 12, you'll get your 10th level in Barbarian, which Path of the Beast Barbarians gain Infectious Fury. This is a feature you can use during your rage when you hit an enemy, making them do a wisdom saving throw, and they take 2d12 psychic damage if they fail. While this seems more of an attribute that Wolverine's alternate universe daughter Wild Thing would have, you can flavor this as trauma and terror that the enemy is feeling, since HP is also about how much fight is left in the character as well as their health. Instead of the damage, you could force them to do a melee attack against another creature of your choice if they fail the save. Level 13's Relentless Rage almost makes you too feral to fall unconscious by allowing you to make constitution saves to drop to 1 hit point instead of 0. This increases with difficulty with each successive save. This suits the healing factor theme we're trying to achieve and is complemented by your high constitution score. At level 15 you gain more brutal critical damage, and level 17 you get persistent rage so you don't accidentally come out of rage early. In between at level 16 you have your 14th level of Beast Barbarian, which you get the feature Call the Hunt, which when activated lets you pump yourself with temporary hit points depending on how many allies are close by, while they get a slight damage boost to their attacks from you. Think of this as Wolverine's protector instinct over his friends and the morale boost that they get from his presence. To ensure you get 20 strength and 20 constitution, you will need a total of 5 ASIs, which is why I would go to monk level 4. This would be levels 19 and 20, as level 18 would also be your 16th level in barbarian. Taking monk to 4 will also get you 2 more key points for your bonus action based dodge healing, a monastic tradition, deflect missiles, and the slow fall reaction. Deflect missiles and slow fall are about mitigating damage, which can be reflavored as part of your healing factor. The monastic tradition that you decide to choose isn't that important. Long Death seems appropriate in name, and with 4 levels in monk it stacks on another 5 temporary hit points each time you reduce a creature to 0 hit points. So what about magic items? If you can get your hands on the uncommon item Periapt of Wound Closure, it will double the amount of hit points that you regain on each roll of that hit die. This would turn a 20 constitution D12 hit die from doing a minimum of 15 to a minimum of 25 healing, which goes a long way for a barbarian who resists bludgeoning, piercing and slashing damage. This build is good at dealing a consistent level of damage. You get plus 4 rage damage to each of your 3 claw attacks that you can give yourself advantage on every turn, and if you crit, you also deal an additional 2 damage die thanks to brutal critical. That's before counting the 2d12 psychic damage that you can potentially inflict with Infectious Fury each turn. If you run out of healing key, then you can use your bonus action to make an offhand weapon attack with your claw. It won't benefit from your proficiency bonus on the attack roll, but can still benefit from reckless attack and rage damage. This concept build is also very healthy. You are very hard to kill thanks to resistances, a big pool of health, and advanced healing abilities. In terms of speed, you are surprisingly quick for a dwarf, with 45 movement speed as long as you aren't armoured. What we don't have is a high AC. You won't be armoured or using a shield, and you have only maxed out one of the 2 stats that contribute to your unarmoured defense, meaning your AC will top out around 16. In addition to that, you'll be giving your enemies advantage to hit you very regularly. This is due to reckless attack. So yes, you will be a meat shield for the rest of the team, but that's exactly what Wolverine is. You're the beefy guy with the claws dealing with hordes of minions or surviving the big bad guy's onslaught of damage. So it's only natural you don't do Nova damage. While your damage output will be relatively consistent, don't be expecting any crowning moments of huge burst damage. You're also not the utility guy. You have 1 tool proficiency thanks to being a dwarf, and then you're also proficient in perception, survival, athletics and intimidation. Unfortunately, that's it. There are some variations to this build you can use. If you like the more refined and tactical Wolverine, that is in some of the comic incarnations, feel free to taper back on 4 levels of Barbarian and insert 4 levels of Battle Master Fighter. Not only do you get Second Wind as additional healing, you get a fighting style, action surge, and battle maneuvers. Other monk traditions can be considered, but remember that as your claws are weapons, you will never use Flurry of Blows, and anything requiring a saving throw will use one of your weaker ability scores. You can also take levels 3 and 4 in monk sooner than level 19 and 20 to get back on par with your ASI progression. And that wraps this video up. If you want to see more character builds, subscribe for future content.